and thank you so much for joining me for Scrappy Sunday. My name is Sharon Rogers, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Wells, Maine. And every Sunday evening, I have been in the habit of bringing you a memory-keeping project. Now, I am continuing on with my version, which is the same as their version, of the month-by-month album retreat that Stampin' Up! Held this summer. And let's get started. I wasn't planning on doing this particular one, Project 2, because it is one of the more involved and more technical pieces, but I took a chance and it really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Let's check it out. I think it's a fun one, and I think you're going to be able to adapt it to your scrapbook pages no matter what month you're scrapping or what the occasion is. All right, I will need the bag that's marked Project 2, and again, if you haven't ordered or aren't going to be ordering the Virtual Retreat Kit, you can just sort of follow along. I will have the instructions, and I could give you some measurements if you needed it. But in the instructions for the Virtual Retreat Kit, it tells you exactly what you need. So I need 2 pieces of 12 by 12 white willow cardstock, and that's in there. And I need 1 1¼ by 12-inch black and white polka dot piece, and I can see that. So all these pieces are in here, and I'm gonna probably keep them in there right now just because there are some little pieces, so I'll just pull them out as needed. It tells me what size photos that I should use, and I've already pulled those out. These are photo placeholders because, again, I'm not going to be adding photos until after February 2026. So I need a 4 by 6, and I need 5 3 by 4s, and I need 1 3 by 3. So that will help me determine how to take photos and also to how to crop them afterwards. And I have a printer that will do that, but I could certainly also just keep that in mind. So if I normally print on a 4 by 6, then I know that I want to probably be zoomed out a little bit if I want to be able to cut it down to 3 by 4. I also need to bring in these die cuts. That's another wonderful thing about this scrapbooking retreat kit, is that they have done a lot of the work. They did all the cutting of all those strips, and they've done the die cuts. Now, if I wanted to recreate this, maybe in different colors or maybe even the same colors, I could use some of the dies that I already have. For instance, I have some hearts, the Hearts of Elegance dies that are either on the last chance list or gone already, but I could get those out. I mean, I could freehand a heart too, I suppose. So let's see, I've punched out all the hearts that are there because I know I need all of those. I'm going to set those aside. And this one folds in half, and that's going to be cool for later. Let me just set this off to the side a little bit. I don't want to get it lost. All right. From the die cuts, the white die cuts, there are 2 sheets in here. I need these 4 half ovals. Lots of little pieces in here, so I'm just getting them out right from inside the bag so that in case any fall out, they stay in the bag. And then one of these seals, so it's just a tiny scalloped edge on a circle. And then on the back, I need one of these long, skinny ovals. And that should be it from that bag, I think. All right, I'm turning my attention now to the project number 2 bag. I'm going to just slide everything out, and I'm going to sort things. The instructions are great because they will actually point me to which pages or which page each strip goes to. So I'm going to separate them right now. And I'm really going to work with the strips right now so I can take away anything that's really not a strip. All right, that's probably pretty good right here. So we're just going to set those aside. Now on these strips, so my instructions do tell me what's left and what's right. So you'll just have to take my word that I know how to read. And the first two pieces that it talks about are the black and white polka dots. So the 1 1/4 by 12 is on the left, and the 1 1/4 by 11 is on the right. So that means that the smaller one is on the right, the larger one is on the left. So I'm just going to put those atop those pages. And then we move to the black and white leaves. So I need to find the one that has black and white leaves. All right, and again, these look exactly alike, and they are because they're both 1/2 by 12 inch, and one goes on the left and one goes on the right. That one was easy. And then we're going to move to the white willow cardstock, and both of those are 1/2 by 12, so that makes that easy as well. Here's one 1/2 by 12. And let's see, where's the other one? Oop, I was actually reading incorrectly. The white willow, there is a 1/2 by 12 that goes on the right page. That's on the right page. And then it is a 1/2 by 5 1/2 inches that goes on the left page. And that's this one right here. Oh, good. And then I need a 1 inch by 2 1/2 inch piece of white willow cardstock. And they're not telling me which page that one is. So I just want to make sure that I have that and I can set that aside. I'm going to set that aside with my rectangles. And then I have a 1 inch by 11 piece of light pretty in pink cardstock. One left page, one right page. That should have said 2, but that's a typo, but they actually only did include 1. And so in the video instructions that they gave us, they're going to show us how to piece some other together. I'm going to just cheat because I can. I have the light pretty in pink two-tone cardstock, and so I'll just get a piece of that out. So here's pretty in pink. There are 2 sides. I want the light side on the left, and that's 1 by 11. And there's going to be another one on the right. I need a 1 1/2 inch by 11 piece of light pretty in pink that's going to go on the right. And that's this piece. That's one, there we go. And then I need a 1 1/2 inch by 7 piece of light pretty pink. That's this piece. And that's going to also go on the right. 1 1/2 by 3 1/2 light pretty in pink cardstock. That's going to go on the left. So that's this one. And Flirty Flamingo, we have a 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. And that's gonna, it doesn't say whether that goes on the left or the right, so I'm guessing it's gonna go on both. And we also have a, those are for our photos. And then we have a 3 1/2 by 4 1/2. That's also part of the photos. We have 2 1 by 11 Flirty Flamingo cardstocks. One goes on each page. And which side? I didn't say whether it was light or dark, so I'm just going to assume it's light. I know I'm supposed to assume it's dark unless it says otherwise. So, all right, I'll do that. And then a 3 1/2 by 3 1/2 soft seafoam. That's another mat that's in the rectangle pile. We need a 1 1/2 by 6 inch soft seafoam on the right. or 1.5 by 8 on the right and 1.5 by 6 on the left. So let's see. This looks like 8. 1.5 by 8, that's on the right page. And 1.5 by 6, that's on the left page. 1 by 11 cherry cobbler cardstock, that's going to go on the right. I can't tell which one's light and which one's dark. Please hold while I compare. That looks like dark. That looks like light. Okay, so there we go. And 1 by 8 cherry cobbler on the left. And 2 1.25 by 2 cherry cobblers. One goes on the right, one goes on the left. And then there's some excess paper that we used to fill in. Did I not do the seafoams? Oh, 2 1.5 by 11s. One's on the left and one's on the right. There we go. And I have a little scrap here that is, not sure where that goes. This is going to be the Flirty Flamingo though. So it's the 1 by 1.5. That goes on the right page. And I need 2 of those. And that goes on the right page. There we go. So I think that's all our strips. So I think we're all set now. We've got our left page and our right page sorted out. So now we come to the prepare phase. And before I start assembling, I'm going to prepare some of the components. Now it does say using the blending brush technique, apply soft seafoam ink to both 12 by 12 White Willow cardstock base pages. Now I'm not really sure yet what's going to be showing. I mean, I can kind of see from here that I'm going to have some up here and maybe some down here. So I guess I could do it. And I have some up here and maybe a little bit down here. I mean, I guess I could do it. Let's go ahead. I'm going to only work on well, I guess I can work on both sheets. So I've stacked them right now so that the left is on the top and the right is on the bottom. Let me move the pieces off to the side a little bit. Move these off. So here's my left sheet. I'm going to bring in a blending brush and my soft seafoam. So let's see. I have a brush that has some soft seafoam on it already, I think. I think that's the color green that's on there. I'm going to bring in just a piece of scrap paper so I can make sure I get off some of that first little bit. And let's see what parts are showing here. So it looks like up in here is where I'm going to be adding some of this soft seafoam. Just makes the page have a little bit extra on it. And then it looks like down in here there's a little bit extra too. So that's for my left-hand side. Let me get my right-hand side paper, and I think I will put my strips just off to the side. They'll stay where they need to stay. And on this one, looks like I need it right up in here somewhere, because that's where the white space is. It's not covered by some of the strips, and probably down in here somewhere. So it's just a really light look. You may not even be able to see it on camera, but you can see where I'm placing it. All right, let's close this up. Put that back for the time being. Let's come back in with my left-hand piece. It says I'm going to stamp this paint splatter and the burst cluster in soft seafoam ink on both base pages. I think I want to have everything, I want to have my strips done first before I actually do that step. So I am going to wait on that step. And that will also allow me to, you know, maybe add some more on these pages as I need to. So I'm going to stamp the plus sign border in soft seafoam ink on one edge of the 1.5 by 11 and the 1.5 by 8.5 soft seafoam pieces. So what I'm going to do ahead of time is I'm going to mark which ones are left and which ones are right, so that I can kind of just keep my stacks where they're supposed to go. You know what? My stacks are where they're supposed to go. I'm going to change that up. I'm going to just go as I am. So I'm going to stamp the plus sign border. So we've seen that before. So that is in this month by month one, and it's this right here. Go ahead and get that one out. This block is a little bit small for that. Let's get a slightly larger one out. There we go. It's long and skinny, so I'm gonna pick it up this way. All right. We're gonna stamp that in soft seafoam ink, which I just put away, of course, on one edge of the 1.5 by 11 and the 1.5 by 8.5. So here's the 1.5 by 11, and I'm going to keep it on my left side, and the 1.5 by 8.5. And when in doubt, you can always get your ruler out. So that's 1.5 by 8. But I think it's right. So up here, soft seafoam said 1.5 by 8. So this is just a typo down here. So I'm going to use this one, and we're on the light side. On the light side. And I'm going to put the plus sign border on one edge of both of those pieces. So if I look at my sample here, I see I have it on one edge here. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's bring in my scrap paper just to protect my base. I'm going to go 1.5 by, I'm going to just stamp right along one edge. Doesn't matter which edge, just one of them. I really like this stamp and what it adds. Oops, I got a little crooked there. That's all right. Maybe it'll be part of a piece that gets cut off. So that's my left, so I put it back on my left. And another thing you can do, if you really mess up, you can just go ahead and use the dark side. If you use the dark side on one, you should use the dark side on another. There we go. And that is done. Let's clean our stamp so we can put it back. That way we can pretty easily find it again when we need it. All right. And we'll put this right back where we found it. Right down here. Okay. Back to the instructions. So let's check it off if we've done it. So we've done that one. Using the stamping off technique. Now, sometimes I call it stamping off. Sometimes I call it second generation. You're going to stamp the plus sign heart. So if I look in the month by month stamp set, there is a heart in here that has little plus signs in it. So that's the one I want. So using the stamping off technique, stamp plus sign heart in cherry cobbler ink on both 1x11 pretty in pink pieces. All right, I'm going to check that off just because we're doing it right now. So I'll get my cherry cobbler ink out. And I'm gonna move this sheet off to the left just so I make sure I don't get anything on it that I don't intend. So my light 1 inch by 11 inch piece. Here's my light side, and I want one from the other side. And I'm gonna second generation stamp this heart, which means stamp off and then stamp on your paper. So this gives a bit of a monochromatic look to this piece. If you didn't have cherry cobbler, you could use light pink, or pretty in pink, I should say. Oops, I'm getting a little low here with my hearts. That's okay, I'm pretty consistent. That's the one on the left. And stamp off. That's the thing you got to remember. Stamp off. Just don't go too quickly, and it shouldn't be a problem for you. Kind of get in a rhythm. Here we go. And again, I'm going to clean my stamp before I have any little accidents and before I lose it. So we will put that right back where it goes. And it's easy to tell where it goes because there's the hole right there. There we go. Set that back on the right. Stamp the rounded banner in tuxedo black ink and LOVE in cherry cobbler ink on 4 coordinating white willow pre-cut pieces. So if you recall, we had 4 of these pieces. The rounded banner. And in the instructions, I'm not sure if you remember from last month when I did this, in the instructions, they label everything that you need. So if I find the one that says rounded banner, that's what it looks like. So let's go ahead and find the rounded banner. That's going to be in this month by month alphabet. It's right there. So let's pull this out. It's the one that looks like it fits on those banners, so it's not terribly hard. Okay. I'm going to move this because white on white is difficult to stamp on. And for some reason, I am going to guess that I need to stamp sideways. Just a personal preference. So I'm going to stamp this in black according to the instructions. So let's go ahead. I'm going to have to stand to get over it and hopefully not get my head in the way. Very good. All right. And then we'll clean this. And then I'm going to stamp love also on those banners. But I'll have to turn for that. All right, there's that. So I'll need the other page for the letters. So I know I need L-O-V-E. Here's my L. And because I can see on my sample, L goes like this. Ooh, I don't want the uppercase. I want the lowercase. You know what? I want the uppercase. Oh, no, I guess I'll go with the lowercase because over here we've got uppercase. No, I'm going to go uppercase. I'm going to go rogue. I like it. I like the looks of it better in the uppercase. So we need to turn our banners around. Oops, not in black. I need it in cherry cobbler. That was a close one. Saved the day. L. I'm just going to use the same block. Put my L back where it goes, and then grab the O. Here's the L. M-N-O is right here. V. So this is one of the things that I need to develop myself with scrapbooking, is remembering that I don't, just because I don't have a word doesn't mean I can't use it. I can make the word. And then E. And now because I got this kit, I have all these banners and shapes and true, these will be used up, but I still have the stamp and I could just fussy cut around that. And I certainly still have all the letters, which is great. It's going to be a very useful set for me. Okay, so there's love. All right, let's close this up. So I have stamped the love in cherry cobbler. I've now done that step right there. I think this pen's going. Stamp the oval in tuxedo black ink and the heart border in cherry cobbler ink on the coordinating pre-cut piece. So what they're talking about is this one right here. So from this, we have the oval. We used that last time. So let's go ahead and find that oval die cut. It's right here. So when you're using the kit, it makes sense to kind of prepare all these elements first. If you're starting from scratch and doing your own pages, you probably will be adding it afterwards. If, you know, for those who are super creative, you know, it's a process sometimes. Put this back. And then I need the hearts, which have to come from the other stamp set because it's not in this stamp set. So I can see it's right there. Let's just find it. Yep, it's on this sheet right here. Off to the edge. And this is going to go in Cherry Cobbler. Right down the center. That looks pretty good right like that. There we go. That stamping is done. All right. Put this back. Where are we now? Let me set that aside. So we just did that one. Stamp the seal in soft seafoam ink and What Matters Most in Tuxedo Black. So get our little seal out. And here we have the seal. So that is going in the background. And we need our soft seafoam. You know what? I'm going to stamp off on my scrap just to, sometimes that first inking is a little rough. So here we go. And we're going to just hope for the best. Oh, I know I have cat hair, crash hair on this. So well, that's not terrible. Let's try it again. The hair actually could be on my stamp pad. That's better. There we go. And let's clean this. And then from the other stamp set, we have the saying, What Matters Most. That's this little scripty one. Let's see, what matters most right up here. And as long as you put them back where they go, you can see right in here. Now, I'm going to get some cases for this because Stampin' Up! Does sell the cases as well. I'm going to get the cases, and then I'll be able to put this insert right into the case and add my words directly into the case. Now I need my black ink. And let's put that. What matters most? Lovely. And just put this back. All right. Zooming right along here, aren't we? All right. So we did that one. Stamp Faves in Tuxedo Black ink on the 1 by 2.5 inch White Willow cardstock. 1 by 2.5 inch. Now I know that Faves is on the left-hand side. So let's see. Right here is my piece of White Willow. And I need to get my alphabet out. And I'm going to stamp Faves in Tuxedo Black. And if I look at that sample, it looks like it's about a letter's width starting over from the right. And I can see that there's some dots here. I think that extends over that whole, like the dots are on this white as well. So I am going to keep that in mind. I'm going to start spelling backwards. And I want want to center this on here. So let's get my S. There's S. So the prep part is really the part that takes the longest, because especially if you are cleaning as you go, which honestly, because of all these little stamps, I highly recommend. And then E, you might want to have the word E, faves, right next to you so you can make sure that you are spelling in the correct order. I mean, because we're going backwards, it's a little bit different. Sometimes it's hard enough to spell going forward. You know, you start getting a little bit ahead of yourself, perhaps. You know, I was thinking ahead, and then before you know it, you've skipped a letter. Another tip, you might want to have faves spelled out maybe on a larger block, and then pick up from there. And then you know you're not going to miss anything. Now it looks like I'm running out of room, so maybe those other pieces aren't on there. Or maybe I'm just stamping too far apart. Whatever. We're going to call it good. Oh, it does look, if I look a little bit closer, it does look like they are off. Okay. So I could have stamped either way. Here we go, faves. Now, if you are a bit of a perfectionist and you're noticing, oh, one side is a little bit longer than the other, there's a really quick fix for that. It's called your paper trimmer. So I'm going to just take a little bit off. Now it's like cutting hair. You know, you can get into the, oh, now the other side's shorter, and now this side's shorter. But I'm going to say that is close enough right there. I'm going to set that aside along with all my other stamped pieces. Move on to the next part. All right. Stamp Love This in Tuxedo Black on the Cherry Cobbler Heart pre-cut piece. So that was this piece right here. And if I bring in my sample, looks like I've got to close it. So I'm going to close this. Okay. And then I'm going to do Love This up in the corner here. And that is going to be that. I'm going to check it off now. So let's find the Love and the This. Oh, Love This is one stamp. It's on this month by month piece. Let's, oop, I didn't put this one back. Did I clean it? I don't know if I cleaned it. Better safe than sorry. Put the F back and put the stamps back where they go. Now let's grab the Love This. And we're going to stamp that in black ink. Now let's see. I've got these little nubs here, and you can sand those off. Let's see if I have my sanding block handy. You just want to be a little bit careful because this is two-tone cardstock, so you'll take some of it with you. Here's another way. Like, this side's better. It is going against white, so it's not going to make much of a difference. So let's do Love This just up in this portion of the heart. There we go. Love This. And we will clean that. And put it back. There's the hole. There's where I know where it should go. now stamp the solid and open hearts in cherry cobbler ink on the base pages. Ooh, now we're getting crazy where we're actually stamping onto the base pages. Again, I think I'm going to wait on that because if they can be seen, which they are seen, then that means that I can wait till the end to stamp those. And so I'm going to wait till my pictures are done on that. So I'm going to maybe take a little bit of a different color here. So I haven't done this one, and I haven't done this one, and I haven't done this one. And like it says now, stamp Happy Happy in cherry cobbler ink on the white willow heart using the stamping off technique on one of the happies. Which is great because if I'm stamping twice, once is going to be full strength and once is going to be the stamped off. So let's bring this in and get our cherry cobbler ink. We need our Happy Happy, which is really just a single happy. Let's see, where's Happy? Happy's right over here. So I'm going to stamp Happy. That's now stamped off. And I'm going to stamp Happy a little bit crooked down below it. There we go. And that was easy. We shall return Happy to its home. And its little case. Its faux case. All right. So we've done that. Now we're going to stamp one solid heart on the right base page, and I'm going to wait for that one. And I'm going to wait to add the photos to the photo mats because I don't have the photos yet. And then using white willow heart pre-cut piece as a template, trace a heart around one 3x4 photo, trim the photo, and adhere it to the inside of the cherry cobbler folded heart pre-cut piece. All right, so I can't do that yet. So what it's saying is trace around this heart onto a photo and then cut it out. So what we will have on one side, we will have the white heart. On the other side, we will have the photo. So I definitely know I don't want to adhere this yet. That's going to have to be a step that remains. I'm going to just set that aside. Now we're getting to the part where, so let's see, we have to highlight that too. We're going to assemble the left page. All right, let's get our left page out. All right, so now we have to do a little bit of measuring. So I have my ruler, and the measurements are also on this sample page as well. So down here, we're going to start in the lower right-hand corner of the left page. We're going to measure up 1 inch and over 1 3/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to put that on an inch mark. So there's an inch. And then 1 3/4. So there's 1 3/4 right here. We're going to take our smallest piece of cherry cobbler and adhere that. And it looks like it's supposed to be the dark side because it doesn't say light. So let's see, which is the light and which is the dark? That's the dark. I'm gonna use glue. You can use your adhesive of choice. And because I can see where it's gonna go, I can actually add the glue right to this area directly. All right. Scribble it on a little bit. There we go. And edge, and it just barely fits. There we go. And then on the top, we're going to do the top one next, because we are putting down the anchors for each set of strips. So I've just put down the anchor for all of these strips. Now I'm going to put down the anchor, which is this one, for all of these strips. And the reason why I'm going to do this one and not this one is because it's meeting others. So I want to make sure my anchor is done there first. And so this one has to go up 2 7/8 and over 4. Ooh, I should have marked the 2 7/8 first, but that's okay, because I can, you know what? I can trim this and then I won't have to guess. I just had my scissors. So where are they? Yes, they're in the holder, right where I put them. We're going to trim and trim. All right. Let me orient it back again. All right, so now I can see where the bottom is. I can go up 2 and, what did I say, 2 7/8? So 2 7/8 is 2 little tick marks before 3 inches. So that's where 3 inches would be. 2 7/8 is right there. And then I'm going to go 4 inches over from the top. I'm going to bring in this soft seafoam piece that has the stamping on it. And the bottom edge right here is going to go right where that pencil mark is. And then the inside edge is going to go up there. So I know that I'm going to have a little bit over here. So let's go ahead and put some right there. And I know I'm going to have some right here. And then the rest I can kind of put in the middle here. You might want to protect your surface or stamp on the glass mat. So it's going to be the edge here. Oops, sorry. It's going to be the stamped edge that's here. And the inside edge up there. So stamped edge down here goes to your pencil mark. Non-stamped edge goes up here, goes to your pencil mark. And there we go. I'm going to let that set up for just a second. Then we can trim that as well. And these 2 anchor pieces are the hardest part. The rest of this, these strips are going to go very quickly, very easily. All right, so there we have it. And you can save these strips in case you ever have to do any little patchwork of something else in case your measurements don't work out. I mean, I wouldn't save it for the other pages. I would just save it for this page in case something happens. All right, and so now we can see what comes next. This one's going to come next. And we want to make sure that one of the points goes right to the top. Okay, just like that. And see, it looks already like I'm off because these guys should hit, but they don't. So that's all right. We're gonna make do. Wonder how that happened. Perhaps my measuring was off a little bit. Ooh, my measuring looks pretty good. 2 7/8. Does that look pretty good? Let's see. Yeah, 2 7/8 looks pretty good too. Well, we're gonna just do it. It'll be fine. We'll work it out. And I know that all this stuff is gonna get glued, so I can just go ahead and put my glue down there. And I don't want to waste this, so we'll make sure that the top goes right there. There we go. Then we're going to take our Flirty Flamingo piece. And Flirty Flamingo was, it did not say whether it was light or dark, which means that we have to assume it's the dark side that we use. Okay, and so now we have this. So this just needs to slide down a little bit, I think. And what we can do here is, remember how we were saying this works out so nicely. I can show you what we can do is, if we just slide this in here a little bit, nobody's going to know that these two didn't meet. All right, so we're not going to worry about it. I'll put a little glue in here. Put it by the edge. Slide that right in, butt that right up against that one. There we go. And then we're going to take our stamped piece right here, and that's going to go next. So I can see that this is just angled a little bit poorly. All right, which means I can probably sneak this under a little bit, because I didn't go right to the edge, which is also another helpful hint, I think. All right, so I'm just gonna sneak this up a little bit and underneath, so it looks like it hits there exactly. And then I want to take my larger piece of polka dot. I do the same thing. It can go a little bit further because this is going to go a little bit further. It's a wide piece. All right. Again, I'm going to just slip this right underneath. Come on. Slip this right underneath, and so there will be no gaps. Come on, slip. There we go. I need to pick this up a little bit. I'm gonna carefully try to get this up. Come on. I'm all sticky now. Here's a little hint. Breathe in that, and that just lifts that a little bit. Okay. Now I did rip the paper a little bit, but that's okay because it's not going to show. So I'm going to lift this up a little bit. There we go. And now we bring this in. There we go. This is still wet down here. And I just want to make sure that I get my edges. So there we go. All right, let me lift this edge a little bit. And we're going to put some adhesive there. And I'm just going to wedge in this little piece right here. There. That fixes the issue there. I'm going to trim off these pieces. Now I can see that some of these aren't quite glued all the way down to the edge, so I'm going to fix that when I come back. I mean, it doesn't matter too much because this is going to end up in a page protector anyway. There we go. Look at how pretty that is. And you cannot tell that those pieces don't meet down there. It's great. All right. So I said I was going to just make sure that these edges here are, actually, doesn't look too bad. I can just add just a teeny tiny bit of glue right here, and that'll hold that down. Same thing right here. Again, not really a necessary step because you're going to have them in page protectors. Ooh, this one's got quite a bit that's not glued down though, so there we go. All right, now we're going to turn our attention up here, and we're going to start with our cherry cobbler piece, and we're just going to work the other direction. So and I know eventually this all has to be glued. I guess I could just do this because now I know where it's going. It's going all the way to the corner anyway. So we're going to take this. You want to make sure that it extends all the way. There we go. And then the next piece is, and I'm just following the photo. Next piece is that little white strip. And then the next piece is this little printed piece. There we go. And then the last one is a pretty in pink piece, and it's this one right here, and it's the light side. So we're going to go just like that. Now let's flip it over and trim those edges. And there we have the base of this page. All right, let's go back to the directions. Add remaining cardstock and DSP strips. Adhere prepared photos using Stampin' Dimensionals. All right, so adhere the remaining cardstock and DSP strips. So I did that. So these are the cardstock and DSP strips. And adhere prepared photos using Stampin' Dimensionals. So for my photos, I've already gone ahead and put the photo mats on them, or the photo placeholders on those. And you can use this white piece, by the way, as an extra mat if you want to. I've just got them on there with a couple of little glue dots that I've taken some of the sticky off, just so I could, you know, work it a little bit more. And this is going to go right up here where the edge is. Now, what's interesting is that on the video that they gave us, they showed that the green one, which is true, has a wider border than all the other pink one, the Flirty Flamingo ones. Although it looks like these are supposed to be pretty in pink, but they're not. They are the photo placeholders, which are Flirty Flamingo cardstock. And this piece is supposed to have a 1/2 inch border. It looks like it doesn't. It looks like it's got the 1/4 inch larger measurements, but it's supposed to be this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to adhere this little tab thing right up here. And so I want to just kind of make sure this this is straight, and it only gets put right along here. I'm just going to be a little careful with my glue, and I can go a little bit further over. When I adhere my photo, I'll adhere it right up next to that, and it'll be perfect. So there's that piece. Okay, and then my photo is going to go on here with dimensionals. Now, if you happen to watch last week, you know that the recommendation is to use more, not less dimensionals, because you don't want your photos in your pages sagging. So I'm going to recommend 4 on the long sides, maybe a third here, and then I'm just going to put them down here down the middle here. I think that's going to be good. I think that's plenty of dimensionals. I'm going to do the same thing on the soft seafoam one. Come on, there we go. All right. And if I look at the sample here, it looks like this kind of comes in right about, so it has to come in an inch and a half. So the edge is right about here, and it goes into the polka dots. So that looks about right there, I think. And then this one, we're also going to put dimensionals on that. And let's just go 3 on a side. And then 1 in the middle. My fingers are sticky from that glue mishap on that one strip. Making that a little bit longer. All right. And then this is going to go just a little bit below and to the right. So it kind of extends into the green a little bit. It looks like, yeah, it's something like this. I'm going to change it up a little bit. There. So there's that photo. These photos are for the other page. All right, and now we have to add our title. Oh, let's go back to the directions. So let's see. Add the prepared photos. Adhere February title, file tab, and heart using the multi-purpose glue. So I already adhered that with the multi-purpose glue. Let's get my word February out, and that's in 3 pieces. So that's going to go up here. February. It's going to go just like that. Let's move this over just a little bit. So yeah, something like that. Let's get it off the cherry cobbler as much as possible. So let's put the F down. All right. Let's go right like that. And remember, I am doing this as the directions say, but there is nothing that says that you have to do it exactly as it says. It's your scrapbook page. You might not even want this to be February. You might want this to be January. Well, we've already done January, so. But maybe you want this this color scheme to go with maybe a wedding that was held in May or June. You can adapt it however you want. All right, just a little bit of glue here. Here we go. February. And then I said I needed to do the file tab, did that, and the heart using the multi-purpose glue. The heart. So I've got a couple of hearts in here, but that one actually looks like it's, that's on dimensionals because it's sticking over the green. I know that. So where's the other heart? Maybe it's this black one. Maybe. Yeah, probably. Let's get that heart out. And we will put that, we'll put that down here somewhere. And we can put the pink heart up on dimensionals because I know that's what that is. Oh, by the way, those die cuts have what projects they go to on the back. So that white one, the project 2 on the back, that's very helpful. Let's get out my regular size dimensionals. Wherever they went, I just had them. Oh, there they are. I knew a second I'm gonna get out my little dimensionals for this. Oh, it's the big heart. I forgot. Big dimensional, big heart. All right, where did that pink heart go? Just had it. Oh, it's because it's white on white. I'm not seeing it. All right. And so we're just gonna put that right over here, something like that. There we go. And then we need to put this over here. So we've also got the stamping, remember, that we didn't do before. And if I go back to those directions, it was use the blending brush. So the blending colors are showing, so that's good. And then stamp the splatter and the burst cluster in soft seafoam ink on the base pages. So the splatter we've used. Here's the burst cluster. The burst is the, they look like asterisks, and the splatter just looks like a bunch of dots. I'm gonna bring those back in, and we're just gonna add some of those to various areas where they show. And so I think, if I think about where some of this goes, this is gonna go right down here. So I wanna have my bursts and my splatter kind of showing. So maybe I just do this. And maybe I have my little bursts showing. So some of them are splotches and some of those are starbursts. And then the same thing up here. We put some of these over here and fill in with some splotches, some paint splatter. All right. That looks good enough for me. I should wash those right now. All right. I will. You've guilted myself into doing it. I don't want to. I really just want to finish this left side. I know I'll need to use these at some other point. All right, they didn't come from this one. They came from this one. All right, put those away. This I know needs to go up on dimensionals because I can see the shadow of it. So we'll put that, whoop, we don't want the hearts upside down. Put that right there. That looks good. And then, what else did I have to do that I didn't do? I did that one. Stamp the solid and open hearts in Cherry Cobbler ink. So there's, if I look at this, there's a solid heart and an open heart. They're teeny tiny. So let's see if I can find them. That's not the right stamp set or stamp. That's got to be on this one. I guess it doesn't have to be on this one. Month by month. Oh, here's one heart. Oh, and here's the other heart. It's so tiny. Actually, I could have found it probably faster. I could have looked on this page and saw, oh, the teeny tiny heart's over here at the edge and the solid heart's over here. So I need to use that as a guide. I'm going to put them on both sides here. Get out my Cherry Cobbler. All right, let's do the solid one first. Now we're going to put the solid one right here. And then another one over by the February. And then I'm going to do the open one right up here. There we go. And then all we have to do is add some of the black matte dots. But first, of course, we have to color. I mean, we have to clean our stamps so we get the color off them. So I remember that this little heart goes over here. Oop, the little heart goes over here on the edge, and the larger heart goes right here next to the flower. All right, and then all we need to do is get out some of these dots and add them to our page. So it looks like 2 smalls and a large. So on here. Oops, I just took the dot off with it. Hold on. There we go. And let's go right up here. And right here. Come on. Something that looks like that. And there is our left-hand page. If you wanted to add some other embellishment, oh wait, we do need some other things. We need the word fave. We haven't done that one. That one goes on dimensionals too. This is fairly large. I'm going to use 3 dimensionals here. February faves. So let's put that right here next to there. And then we're going to put a couple more dots. I'll put one right here and another one right here. And that looks pretty much like the sample. If I pull that over, looks pretty good. There we go. Now I think if I were to cut my own colors for this page, I think what I might have done is instead of using the Flirty Flamingo, I would have made the Flirty Flamingo the dark pink, the dark Pretty in Pink. But this works. All right, for our next page, we're going to bring in our right-hand side page, but we do need our left-hand side page to get things started. So I'm going to put these up right exactly together so that they're lined up. And this is going to allow me to place my strips. I'm going to begin with the strip that I stamped. Let's see, this piece right here that I stamped. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down here like this. So it's a continuation. And then I'm going to bring in this one. And oops, except for, it's a continuation, except for I got to make sure that it's lining up. So to get the best lineup would be to go as far in as possible so that these are, see how these are overlapping? That means I know that the edges are aligned and they're straight. So let's go ahead and put that on there. Bring in my glue. And oops, I need to make sure my paper is aligned. There it is. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of this down, put some of this glue down. I can put the glue on here. We're going to just come down here. Let's see. Oops, I want to make sure it's long enough so that this edge comes all the way down. That looks pretty good, I think. All right. And then if I just keep this back, you can see that the next one's going to follow. The next one will follow along nicely. All right. So I'm good to go. So we want to make sure we have the same color down here. So I'm going to put this one up here. Again, you want to make sure that the edge goes, that the point goes point to point here. I'm going to put this down. Add my glue. There we go. And then if I look at the pattern, the next one that happens is the Willow White piece. So that's going to go in right there. That's a thin one. Go. Again, make sure that this end either has to meet exactly or it has to extend off. So both edges have to extend off, or at least to the edge. And I got a little adhesive here. Let's get that off, okay? And then we have our leafy strip that comes next. So that'll go right there. And I can feel when it's butting right up against it. So that's how I know I'm good. I just love the idea of these colored strips and then an occasional printed one. I think that makes it nice. I'm gonna probably be cutting this area off, but I noticed it's a little sticky. And then I want to get my regular Pretty in Pink piece. And if I notice this, it is a little bit short. Maybe I don't have the right one, but I have another one I can use. And the other one is I can actually split this apart because if you look, a lot of it is covered. Well, some of it is covered. So it's not going to be a big deal if I have to piece it together. So I'm going to start down here, actually. And I think it's supposed to be the light side. So that's the light side. All right. And I'm going to, I do need a little piece down here. But that means, oh, I think that's a little piece of Flirty Flamingo, actually. So I do have this extra piece that is from my first one. So I'm going to put this down from up here, and then I'm going to put this one over here, and the seam is not going to show. I promise. I promise. Let's go ahead and put this down. Oh, wait a second. I don't need to go all the way to the end, do I? Okay, right up against. Make sure this comes all the way down. There we go. Now this, my picture is supposed to come 3 inches down from the top. So my picture is going to start right here, which means that over in here is where they overlap a little bit. So that's good to know. That means that I can just put this in right like this. And this overlap is going to be taken care of by a photo. So if I measured 3 inches down, that's where my photo is going to be. See how it's not even going to show. I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to put it right here. Just overlap them just like that. There we go. And just check that. So there's 3 inches. And this area might show, so I'm going to just take a snip off of here. And that way I know. I could have also just kind of had less overlap, but that's good. All right, now let's take do some of the other pieces that we need to do. Let's see, I gotta make sure this is stuck down well. Okay, there we go. Let's turn our attention to this bottom piece here. And if we come back with this, oh, I suppose we should trim that. It'll make it easier to put our pages together. pieces aside again in case we just need any little doodads like we did before. So here we go. If I put these two together again, I can see where my little piece of cherry cobbler has to go. Make sure I've got the right side to match. There is the right side to match. And I need it to go right up against the green right there. So it's very helpful having these two pieces together so that we can get that right placement and angle. Let me see if this is even on screen. Yeah, it is. Good. Sometimes I work off screen. So I know I'm going to need some adhesive all along this little triangle. So I might as well just put it on right now. We'll put all our strips on right now. So put these together again. And that's going to go right up there. And then my other two pieces, I need a little piece of Flirty Flamingo. I have plenty extra. I mean, I do have this little piece here too. So I could just use that. Put that there. And then we have soft seafoam. And let's see, do I have it? Can I have a little strip that yeah, this will work. This will work. There we go. So that finishes that area, and then we just need this other piece, this other area going. All right, we're almost there with our stripes. And this is the most time consuming, as you saw in the last one. It's the most time consuming part of the whole piece, but it really is a very striking look, I think. Now, if I bring these two pieces back together, these strips that go up here are a continuation of these pieces. But look, this is too short for me to tell. But the directions do tell me go up 8 3/8 of an inch. So I can do that from here. 8 3/8. So 3/8 is halfway between 8 1/4 and 8 1/2. All right. So between the bottom edge and we're gonna want to make it so that it's the same angle. I can kind of see here where this is going. So that's what it's gonna look like. Now, I might be a little bit off, but that looks pretty good. So I'm putting one square end against here and the bottom up against here. So I don't need this page anymore. Let's just add our glue here. And I'm going to add the glue right in here and then mostly to this area right here. And I want the bottom edge here and I want this to be straight. So I'm going to just move this to get this straight. It needs to come down a little bit more because you want it flat against here. All right, that looks good. All right, and then the next piece is our Flirty Flamingo piece. And that's gonna go right up against here. And I've already got some glue in here, so that's good. Let's add a little bit more. Here we go. Then we're going to put my hearts, my stamped hearts layer in here. There we go. And then we want our polka dots. And that's a pretty wide strip, so get a good amount going here. And there we go. Pretty cool geometric look that I never would have come up with on my own. Trim this. There we go. And then trim this other side. And that is the hardest part. It's done. So now all we need to do is add in our photos. Oops, that's not straight. There we go. All right. So let's go back to our directions. So let's see, placement guide, using your left page as a guide. Now we're at this step, add prepared photos using Stampin' Dimensionals. So add prepared photos using Stampin' Dimensionals. I'll bring back my photo mats. Now all the photo mats, the placeholders, are printed in portrait, but we are actually adhering them this way, landscape. And remember, we want to go 3 inches down from the top, but of course we need some dimensionals, so we might as well put the dimensionals on the backs of all of them first. Let's go 3. I'm just going to go 3 on each side. And maybe these guys right there. Don't forget to use the edges. No sense in wasting anything. There we go. All right. Let's take the backs off this, and I think I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool this time. And this one is going to go 3 inches down from the top and 1 inch from the edge. So 3 inches down from the top. It's going to be a little bit above this mark and 1 inch in from the side. So a little bit above and 1 inch in. So that's about where it goes. And then it looks like from there, the spacing's pretty easy. Let's see. I'm just stabbing and then kind of lifting to the side and picking up. Oops, that one did. But sometimes you get enough on there, you have to start over. All right. So we're going to put another one looks like about 1/4 of an inch spacing. Same thing over here. Yeah, that one's being stubborn. All right, and then we have this one right here. So that looks pretty good. Let's just see if this is still about 3 inches down. Nope. So it looks like I'm going a little crooked here. So let's pull these up a little bit. And we want to straighten it out a little bit. That's good. And so we'll just straighten this one out a little bit too. There we go. So there are 4 pictures. Adhere the prepared love banner pieces using Stampin' Dimensionals. So love goes under this one. We'll get out those 4 little banners. Let's see. Let's put them in the right order so we make sure that we get them down in the right order. And I'm going to just cut some of these. L, O, V, whoop, and E. And these just kind of hang underneath on an angle. So I'm not going to press them down yet. I'm going to see how I like the positioning of them first. And let's bring this down a little bit more so it's still on the downswing. And then this one comes up on the up. All right, so it seems like I've got to change these just a little bit. There, that's good. There's my love. Adhere the black heart pre-cut pieces using Stampin' Dimensionals. So the pre-cut pieces, I have this one. And I have a small one somewhere too. Let me find it. There we go. There's my black pre-cut pieces. And it actually looks like they're supposed to be different sizes, but they're not. Maybe I left another one in the bag. Let's see, it's hard to tell a little bit. Oh, they're all the same in here. So I think I've got it right. They just have a little bit of a difference in their picture. All right, that's not a problem. So I'm going to take my dimensionals. You know, what I could do is I could just stamp one of them, and then by stamping it, it will be smaller because that solid heart is smaller. I think I'm going to do that because I really like the look of having two different sizes on this. I need a small dimensional. I've been trying to make a large one work, but I need a small one. There we go. And this is going to go right off this one. I'm going to get out my stamp. And I'm going to take this little solid heart. And I'm going to stamp that in black. And that's going to go, as soon as I ink it up well, that's going to go right about here. See, you can't even tell that that's not a die cut. I bet it's supposed to be stamped anyways. I bet. So of course we have to clean our stamp because it's little. We don't want to lose it, and we don't want to have 5,000 blocks out. And we have to get out another little stamp anyway. We have to get out the open stamp and stamp that in Cherry Cobbler. So I'll get my Cherry Cobbler out. And that is gonna go right here. Cute, 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 cute. All right. Gotta clean that one. And we can put that away. All right, we have 3 more hearts. Oh yeah, that one was stamped. This one goes up here at the top. So the red heart is gonna go down, and it looks like my blending is in the right spot, so that's good. My red heart is gonna go down on here, right about the center and right above here, right like that. And then my 2 other hearts that are over there go up on dimensionals. So we will put a couple of dimensionals on this pink heart. I'm just gonna use some little ones. And that's going to overlap this large one a little bit. And then I'm going to use a little dimensional here. And that's going to go right about, I'm going to overlap them just a tad right about there. Oh, that's so cute. That is so cute. All right, now we are going to look at this heart. And I'm going to adhere this to the inside. No, I'm not, right? Because I want to make sure that I have this for a template. So you could do 2 things. You could make a template right now that you could use, or you could just adhere this later. So I'm gonna just take this just so I can see what it's gonna look like. I'm gonna just put a little adhesive dot in here, take a little sticky off the back so I can remove it. So that's gonna go right here. That's how that's gonna look. You're gonna have a photo over here. This section right here is where you can do some journaling, and that means you can add your own lines if you want to make sure you're writing straight, or you can just wait and do something later. We are going to adhere this to our page, and it's going to go right about here. Now, remember, this is popped up on dimensionals. This is not, so we want to put this on dimensionals, but I don't want to put any dimensionals right here for 2 reasons. One is I don't want this to stick up higher than this, but also I'm going to be putting a photo in here, so I can't I can't adhere anything to where that photo is going to be. So if I just hold where my fingers, that's going to show me where I don't want adhesives, or I don't want dimensionals, I should say. And then I'm going to put some dimensionals where I don't see that. So where that's not overlapping. And so now I can just see it's the rest of this place right here. I'm just going to use up the rest of this strip here. And maybe a little bit more right here. All right, so this is going to be all right. Got them all done. All right. Remember, we wanted to have it just about right like this. So you can see nothing is adhered under here. So I'm going to be able to take that in and out, but I still have this. Of course, that's crooked because it's only got one little dimensional. If I wanted, one little glue dot. If I want to put a second one on there so it doesn't keep rotating, I can. I'm just going to take off some of that sticky. There we go. And that's where our photo is going to go. All right, what else do we have to do? We're almost done. So we put that in, adhere the prepared what matters most using dimensionals, and you can see that that's going to go right under here. It's going to tuck just a little bit right under here. And I want to make sure that the what matters most still shows, but this is not on dimensionals. This is just adhered directly. So we're going to just tuck this in right here, what matters most. Now, February happens to be my anniversary month. So what I might do is I might put an updated photo of us, but also little photos in here might be favorite things we've done throughout the years. We've been married almost 30 years, so in fact, it will be 30 years for this scrapbook page. So I think that's a good idea of what I'm going to do. Right now, the only thing left we have to do is add some of our little dots here. So let's go ahead and, this keeps coming out. Hold on. Gotta set this in right. Lock it in place. There we go. And let's take some of our dots and we'll put one right down here. And it looks like a couple more, probably larger ones, go in this green section right here. And we're going to make them parallel to that strip. And I have a little bit of adhesive right here that I can see. Let's take that off. And I think we are done. All we have to do is add our pictures. Oh, but wait, we have this section right here, right? And how do we deal with that in a page protector? All right, so I have January's spread. And if I were to flip the page to get February, the back of January's is going to be, so the back of the right page of January is going to be the left page of February. And we can slip this one right in and protect it while we're waiting for our photos. All right. It does go in, I promise. Oh, I see. I snagged something up here. You know what? I'm gonna fix that a little bit. Put that right. Put a little bit of glue down there. And my glue's not coming out. Where's my little pokey tool that I usually use? All right, well, we're gonna let it be. Oh, here's my little pokey tool. Here's one of them anyways. All right, let's see. Nope, we'll have to fix that later with the proper pin. I'm just gonna slide this in and make sure this is under here like that. All these little edges right here tend to want to get caught. So there we go. So that one is in. Now for this one, if I put this in, where's this gonna go? How are we gonna flip that up? Well, and here's the magic. So we are gonna not cut out the heart, but we're gonna make a bit of a shutter, what's called a shutter. So, you know how you can open the shutter on a window. That's what we're gonna do down here. So what we need is either a stylus or a pencil. I'm gonna use a pencil. And this fold, I don't want to cut that because I do want the front of the heart to be protected by a page protector too, but I want to be able to expose the other. So I'm going to just draw around with a pencil. I don't know if you can see the pencil. I'm making it a little bit larger than it needs to be, so I'm going outside of the heart just a bit. This is just showing me where I'm going to need to cut. And I'm going to be using what am I using? A craft blade. Again, I don't want to cut where this fold is. I'm going to be using a craft blade, but you can also use your paper snips if you want to. Now I'm going to take this out because I don't want to hurt it. I can still see the pencil mark. Let me see if when I put I'm going to put my foam sheet in here. Okay, and can you still see it? I can see where I'm going to be cutting still. It's going to be a little bit rough at the bottom here just because this is such a thick sheet, in which case, you know, maybe just a regular foam mat, or maybe, you know what, maybe chipboard would be better because it's thinner. A little bit harder to see the pencil line there, but there we go. So I'm going to take my craft hobby blade again. Go ahead and use scissors if you need to or want to. And I cannot see it as well as I thought. Oh, here we go. I'm just going to get the starting point here, right there. And I'm going to just trim around. And again, if it's not perfect, it's okay because it's clear. It's a very sharp blade. It's pretty new. I'd been meaning to buy the Crafter's Tool tips for a while, but hadn't gotten around to it. And then when this came up and said I needed it, oh, I went way wider than I needed to there. But when this came up, I thought, oh, well, now's a good time to do it. So I purchased it. So now I'm just going to come down here. All right. And if something doesn't cut, you just free it. So there's where it opens. Now when I slide this out, and I can just, I can kind of remove the pencil with a slightly damp cloth. Definitely went outside the pencil lines a little bit. All right. There we have that. I have a little bit of a snaggletooth over here. I'm just going to trim that because I don't want that. I want it to be nice and smooth. There we go. Let's put this in now. And now I have the ability to open this and see what's inside. So it's an interactive piece. And yet over here, I can still see it's still protected. And so there is our February spread. So what did you think of that layout? It was kind of unique and something that you probably wouldn't necessarily have done if you hadn't seen it. It does remind me of some of the scrappy techniques, my gosh, that I've done on cards, only translated to a scrapbook page. And so that's one of the things I really enjoyed about it. Plus, you know, I'm kind of a math nerd and I liked that part of it as well. Join me next Sunday. I'm going to be doing one of my favorite layouts from the month by month album retreat, and that is project number 3, which I'm translating to March. I hope you'll join me then.